You're so stupid. Why do you embarrass yourself like that all the time? No wonder nobody likes you. Oh yeah, you've heard that voice in your head saying stuff like that, right? Hey everybody, this is Brian Volpone, and you're listening to the Steady Steps podcast, where we explore the small habits and choices that shape your life. And that voice we were just talking about, that's self-talk. It was an example of what too many of us say to ourselves, quietly, internally, almost automatically. Self-talk is your mental narration that runs all day long. It's how we interpret our actions, how we judge ourselves, how we explain life. It isn't someone shouting at you from the outside. Ironically, if somebody was yelling at you, you'd recognize that as the voice of an enemy. But self-talk is much worse because it's so insidious. It's gradual and subtle, and it can have some really harmful effects. Most of us don't even notice it. We just think we're being realistic, but sometimes what we call realism is actually just a really old script that we've been repeating for years. Today, we want to explore the first step in changing that. Simply noticing it. Because what you say to yourself, what you rehearse in your own mind, it matters more than you might realize. Let's talk about it.
Ever caught yourself thinking something like, I always mess things up. Or maybe, why did I even say that? They must think I'm an idiot. That little voice, often just in the background, a bit too critical, maybe a little too harsh. It's that inner monologue that pops up when you least expect it. Sometimes it's so quiet, you barely register it's even there. Okay, so today, we're going to, embark on a crucial expedition, let's say, into that often hidden world of our inner dialogue. Our mission today isn't really to silence it right away, not yet. Instead, it's about becoming expert cartographers of our own minds, charting the subtle terrain of negative self-talk, understanding why it often stays just out of sight, and maybe most importantly, how to finally start spotting it in your own mind. It's really all about gaining that crucial awareness first.
Exactly. And what we're talking about here is often called the inner critic. It's basically those automatic, kind of unkind or demeaning thoughts we have about ourselves. And what's truly fascinating, I think, is how often this just operates unconsciously. It's subtle, it's constant, and it can sound, unique to each of us. You might catch yourself thinking phrases like, oh, you're just too sensitive, or maybe, seriously, you're falling behind. Yeah. Or even that classic one, you'll never change. The thing is, this inner monologue, it isn't necessarily based on truth or reality at all. It's more often a deeply ingrained mental habit, rooted in repetition. Think of it like a well-worn groove in your mind. It's carved by years of consistent thought, maybe, and it just becomes a kind of default setting your brain keeps going back to until you consciously intervene with awareness.
Okay, so if it's a habit, a deeply ingrained one.
Yeah.
How's that different from just, say, being in a bad mood, or having a passing negative thought? What makes it a habit in the brain? And why does it operate so subtly, like you said, in the background?
Right. That's a really crucial distinction. It's a habit because it often formed maybe early in life, and it became so automatic it largely bypasses conscious thought. It's almost like a background app constantly running on your phone, right? It uses up energy, but you might not even realize it. It's not just a fleeting emotion. It's this pattern of thinking that's just kind of stuck around, built up over time. Understanding this whole background operation thing is really key to bringing it out into the open. And the profound impact of these thoughts, these often unseen thoughts, that's really where our deep dive begins today. Because they profoundly shape our emotions, our behaviors. They can even influence our brain activity and our overall mood.
Wow. It's pretty astonishing, isn't it, to think how much influence something so subtle can actually have. And it brings up such an important point. You probably wouldn't tolerate someone else speaking to you the way you sometimes speak to yourself, would you?
Absolutely not. Most people wouldn't.
It's like tuning a radio. Maybe. Sometimes you're so used to that faint static humming away in the background, you don't even notice it's there anymore. But then once you consciously stop and really listen, suddenly that static becomes, undeniable. And that conscious listening, that's the first step we're focusing on today, just turning up the volume on awareness. But how do we actually do that? What does that listening even look like, practically speaking?
Yeah, that's precisely the challenge, but it's also the opportunity, right? You can start really simply, just by observing. And importantly, without immediate judgment. That part's key. Try paying attention to physical cues. Like maybe you notice your shoulders are tense often, or you have the sighing habit you didn't quite register before, or even just a sinking feeling in your stomach when you think about yourself or something you did. Emotional triggers are also huge clues. A sudden wave of frustration, maybe, or anxiety after a specific thought pops into your head. That can be a signal.
Okay, like maybe you send an important email and then instantly feel that knot in your stomach. And a little voice whispers, "Ugh, that was awkward. They'll think you're incompetent."
Exactly. That physical feeling, the knot, and the specific thought, they'll think you're incompetent. Those are the flags. Just notice them. Also, listen closely for language patterns in your internal dialogue. Specifically, watch out for absolute words. Things like never, always, or should. I always mess this up, or I should have known better. Those are common culprits. And remember, negative self-talk often shows up in common forms or patterns. One is what we call catastrophizing. It's not just blowing things out of proportion, though it feels like that. Often it's like a defense mechanism gone a bit haywire. Your brain tries to predict the worst possible outcome to protect you, maybe, but it ends up just paralyzing you instead. You think, this tiny mistake means everything is ruined.
Right, I see. Or like, if I'm not perfect, I'm a total failure. That kind of thing.
Exactly. That's all or nothing thinking, another common one. Seeing things only in extremes, black or white, perfect or failure, no middle ground. And here's the really empowering part, okay? The sort of aha moment that connects all this back to our brain's incredible ability to change. There's this concept, neuroplasticity. It essentially tells us that your brain isn't static. It's not fixed. Its pathways, its connections are constantly reshaping based on your experiences, your focus, what you pay attention to. So simply becoming aware of these negative thought patterns, just noticing them, doesn't just make you feel a bit better, maybe. It literally starts to activate this powerful capacity for change. It begins to create new, more adaptive neural connections in your brain.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like redirecting water from an old eroded stream bed to forge a new, healthier path. It shows your brain is incredibly adaptable. And remember this key truth. You are not your thoughts. You're the one thinking them. Just holding on to that distinction can feel really liberating.
That separation of self from the thought.
That feels incredibly profound. So, noticing your negative self-talk doesn't mean you're broken or something's wrong with you. Not at all. It just means you're paying attention. You're becoming aware.
Exactly. It's completely normal.
Yeah.
Honestly, everyone has these kinds of thoughts. The real power comes from recognizing them when they show up.
Okay. So, for today's deep dive, our goal is really simple then. Just observe. Don't judge them. Don't try to fix them right now. Just notice when that inner critic speaks up. And maybe here's a provocative thought for you to consider as you step back into your day. If a friend spoke to you consistently the way you sometimes speak to yourself, would you still be friends with them? Something to mull over. We'll definitely tackle the what next, how to actually engage with these thoughts in a future deep dive.
That's a lot to take in, isn't it? Honestly, it's probably worth listening to that a few times to get everything that was said. I think the part that surprises people the most is this. The thoughts in your head aren't trustworthy. It's like the bumper sticker I saw once that said, "Don't believe everything you think." Self-talk sounds like truth because it sounds like you, but sometimes it's just old echoes of shame or fear or failure or some other script that you were handed. Years ago, when my wife and I lived in Florida, we bought a very big window air conditioner to try to cool our house. For some reason, it didn't get installed right away, and it sat on our living room floor in its box for a really long time. At first, it was in the way, but eventually it kind of just became part of the decor. We had little kids at the time, and they drew pictures, and they wrote on the box with magic markers, and we just got used to it being there. Until eventually we put it in the window, and then we were amazed that we had gotten so used to it just sitting there in the middle of the floor. What started as an obstacle became a normal part of our life. And that's how self-talk works. It's been there so long that we hardly notice it anymore. But we need to start paying attention so we finally realize what we're saying to ourselves. Because here's the good news. Once you notice it, then you can begin to change it. So this week I hope you'll just take one small step. Not to fix or to force anything, but to become aware. Just notice what you're saying to yourself. And if you catch a voice in your head that sounds harsh or unkind or unhelpful, pause and ask, would I say that to someone I love? So thanks for listening to the Steady Steps podcast. I think we're going to find out that even the smallest steps can reshape our lives over time. Next time, we're going to talk about how to gently challenge those inner voices and start rewriting the story they're telling us. Until then, keep stepping, everybody.
You've been listening to the Steady Steps podcast, thoughtful moments and practical insights to help you walk a more intentional path. This show is written and produced by Brian Volpone with M1016 Productions. Our theme music is generated with Mubert. AI voice performances and discussions are supported by Notebook LM, Gemini, and ChatGPT. You can learn more, listen to past episodes, or get in touch at steadystepspodcast.com or email us at any time at steps@steadystepspodcast.com. Thanks for listening and keep taking steady steps.